gonna walk you through exactly what I did for 30 days that doubled my income, step by step, and no fluff and no BS. Now, before you roll your eyes, this isn't some manifesting fairy tale, I promise you. There's real neuroscience behind why this works, and I'm gonna give you the science, the method, and then I'm actually gonna tell you what happened in my business during those 30 days. Fair warning though, it's gonna sound too simple, and that's exactly why most people don't do it. So let me start off with why this is even necessary. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist taught at Stanford, has said about 95% of your daily activity is controlled by your subconscious mind. Not your conscious goals, not your vision board, but your subconscious. Which means no matter how hard you're working, if your subconscious programming says, this is the level I belong at, that's where you'll end up every single time. Now think about it like a thermostat. You can crank up the heat to 80 all you want, but if the thermostat is set to 68, it's gonna cool itself back down. And that's what your subconscious does with your income, your relationships, your health, everything. I was stuck at the same revenue level for months. I was working harder, running more ads, taking more calls, and nothing moved because the thermostat was set. I was outworking my strategy, but I couldn't outwork my self-image. So here's what I did instead. I'm gonna break it down to you in 3 phases because that's how it naturally unfolded. Week 1 was the audit. For 7 days, I didn't try to change anything. I just listened. I paid attention to my inner dialogue, the stuff I was saying to myself throughout the day that I normally never notice. And it was rough. I caught myself thinking things like, this client's probably gonna leave. The deal's too big for me. I can't charge that much. What if this whole thing stops working? Those type of thoughts. I wrote it all down. Every limiting thought, every subtle way I was telling myself I didn't deserve the next level. By the end of week 1, I had 2 pages of garbage programming. And the scary part was I'd been running this stuff on repeat for years without ever hearing it. So weeks 2 and 3 were the rewrite. This is where I replaced the old scripts with the new ones, but not with affirmations. Now this is important. There was a study in 2009 by researchers by the University of Waterloo. They found that positive affirmations actually made people with low self-esteem feel worse. Not better, but worse. Because when you say, I'm a millionaire, and your bank account says otherwise, your subconscious doesn't accept it. It rejects it, and that creates internal conflict that actually reinforces the old belief. So instead of affirmations, I use what I call identity assumptions. Statements that felt like a stretch, but not a lie. Instead of, I am wealthy, I would say, I'm becoming the kind of person who handles large sums of money easily. Instead of, I'm the best in the industry, I would say, I'm the kind of person who delivers so much value that clients refer me without being asked. The difference is subtle but massive. One triggers resistance and the other slips past the guard. And I didn't just say them, I felt them. I'd close my eyes and actually put myself in the scene where those things were true. What it would feel like to check my account and see that number. What would the conversation sound like when the client refers someone? I made it sensory and I made it real. And week 4 was the saturation. Now this is where Neville Goddard comes into place. And it's the most powerful part. Every night before sleep, and this is non-negotiable, it has to be that drowsy state, right before you fall asleep. I would run a single short scene in my imagination that implied the new identity was already real. Not a montage, not a vision board in my head, but one scene, like a 10-second clip. A handshake after closing a big deal, a conversation with one of my team members about hitting a milestone, looking at a dashboard with numbers I'd never seen before. And I would loop it over and over, letting the feeling build until I fell asleep inside that scene. Neville called this the state akin to sleep. Neuroscience calls it the theta state. Your brain waves between 4 and 7 hertz to be exact. This is when your subconscious is completely open. The conscious gatekeeper that normally rejects new beliefs, well, now it's offline and the door is wide open. Dr. Joe Dispenza has talked about this extensively. He says that when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion in this state, You're literally rewiring your neural pathways. Your brain starts building the circuitry for the new identity as if it's already real. Now, if this is making sense and you want more of the actual practical side of this, please hit subscribe. I break down the techniques, the science, and the real-world applications every week. Okay, so here's what actually happened. By the end of 30 days, here's what shifted. I closed 2 deals that I've been chasing for months, not because I suddenly got better at sales, because I showed up differently. More certain, less needy, and I stopped negotiating against myself. A referral came in from someone I hadn't spoken to over a year, completely out of nowhere. And they said something like, I don't know why, but I thought of you today. My content started performing better, same platform, same topics, but the energy was different. People could feel it even through a screen. And my revenue that month almost exactly doubled the month before. Again, not through some miraculous tactic, through a shift in who I was being. Now, I want to be honest about something. This isn't magic. I still did the work. I still ran the ads. I still made the calls. I still showed up every day. But the work hit different because I wasn't doing it from a different level, frequency, or desperation anymore. I was doing it from identity. And there's a massive difference between I need this to work and this is who I am, and the results are inevitable. One is gripping and the other one's flowing. And people can feel which one you're operating from. Clients, partners, your audience, they feel it. Now, here's what I want you to take from this. Your subconscious is running the show, whether you manage it or not. Right now, it's executing programs that were installed years ago, and most of them by people who weren't where you want to be. You can keep working harder against that programming, or you can spend 30 days upgrading it and let the work finally compound the way it's supposed to. 30 days, and that's it. Audit the old scripts, rewrite the identity assumptions, and saturate in theta zone, right? That drowsy state before you sleep. Your thermostat will reset, and once it does, you won't have to force anything, and the results will match the new setting. Try it. What do you have to lose except the ceiling that you've been bumping into already? I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.